Well, what a treat and an honor to be joined today by Jo Fabrizio. Good morning. How are you, Jordan?
I'm great. How are you this morning?
I like that. And we're joining for coffee here. What a perfect way to do it. I want to start with the finals this year, going into Arlington, that feeling. See if you can put that into words. And I know it's been a minute, but winning the average there, but walking into that building with those other 14 women and getting prepared to do that. What was that like?
I still can remember walking through the tunnel at Arlington, and to say that I don't think that overwhelmed does it justice. Kleenex should have definitely been a sponsor that day. I don't know one girl that was dry-eyed. Just to know that, our sport has grown so stinking fast. And when we walked through there, it was like, it's real. I remember when I was little, I used to team rope a lot, and we roped at Oklahoma City at the USTRC finals. And when you ride through that alleyway over the overhead, it says Gateway of Champions. Right. And that's what I felt when I walked through Arlington. I was like, you know what an honor, what a blessing from God that we have this opportunity. And then, you know what, we're going to get to rope here and it's going to be good. And then, on top of that first round, wow, like it was one of the toughest rounds and everybody brought their A game and you could just feel the electricity. And, it's such a good reminder to relive that moment because it's something I will always cherish. And it was truly just a blessing. And gosh, gives me the goosebumps now. I mean, it won't ever be replaced.
And from a competition standpoint, though, most people go where you're the average champion. So you just knocked them down. You're maybe, 2-5, 3, you got by them. But the truth be known, you, if I'm not mistaken, you won second like half the rounds through that day or through that week alone. So that's, amazing. But then I want you to take me to what I would call the semifinals when before they got to the four-man round. The field and how hard and how difficult that round was to pull the 4 out of there.
Yeah. So I won second 4 times. That buckle evaded me 4 times. So
didn't mean to bring that up, but
just one buckle, but no, it was awesome. I went in there and I knew the format was going to be 10 head and then advancing to the 8-man 4-man. So I was really proud of myself for the fact that I set out, my goal was to catch all 12 calves. And I did that. I placed in 8 out of the 10 rounds, which was a true blessing. My horse did great. I drew good calves. The competition was awesome. And so then it came down. I did win the average on 10. And so what that did was it seeded me into the 8-man round last. So I was the last roper. I think I had to be 2 flat to make it in there. And there was Jackie was 1-8 and Martha was 1-8. And I was the last girl. And I remember right in the box and just telling myself, just do your job. And I roped that calf and I looked up and it said 1-8. And I just started crying. I was like, holy cow. And I was shaking and just the adrenaline was crazy. The atmosphere was crazy. And so then we went from that round and they gave us, I think, a 5-minute break. And then we went ahead and roped into the 4-man round, which is sudden death as well. And I was last again. And Martha was 2-3. So I knew I had to be 2-3. My calf ran a little bit. I was 2-5. So I ended up winning second. But it was surreal. And it was such an elite competition, like fun, and everybody roped so awesome. And everybody kept growing and getting better off of everybody else. And, to compete at that level, I will just say it truly changed my life. And it just is an honor to be able to rope with ladies like that and be able to step up and do your job. It makes all the blood, sweat, and tears worth it.
Is that you talk about ladies like that. And for me, there was a moment that most people never saw where all of you stood holding hands, Leanne Hart, praying with y'all, talking about this day and just really, speaking to who all of you were and getting to this point. At that point, you had to go, this is really something incredible because the camaraderie is always talked about in the sport, but when you're standing there holding hands with 14 other women and Leanne in the middle of that, you're like, wow, what are we doing now, right?
And that morning, it was truly special because it's so easy to get caught up in what we do. and it's easy to, I know I have, you lose who you are and what you do. And that's not necessarily the case, especially as tough as it is. And so many girls rope so good. But I will never forget that morning. Leanne was talking about, what it took to lose to be able to gain. And she shared some of her own stories. And I just sat there in awe thinking, is this woman Superman? Like, why are you here? Why are you,
Right.
the things she's been through.
Right.
And it just really was, it truly touched my heart to know, you know what, this is so much bigger than roping. This is so much bigger than just us as athletes. Like, we have the opportunity to change people's lives and to live our life and to be an example. I mean, she's an amazing example. She's living it. And it took away a little bit of the, who we're roping against and competing and all that. And it brought to the fact that there's 15 women here, that we all have a story, and hopefully that we'll get to share our stories, one day, or make a difference, and that we aren't what we do. We are each individual on people. We're created, God's image. And
Right.
it just really brought that home. And I think it kind of took out some of the,
right.
I don't know what the word is. It cut the ice. And it was just like, you know what, we're here. We're all here for the same reason, to do our job. And yeah, it was truly an awesome moment. That is one thing though, like a lot of the times, JJ Hampton is one of the fun, I love her, but every time there's prayer, which is every rodeo, she's grabbing whoever's hand she's closest to. And she sets that tone, and it takes a lot of courage to do that, but I think that's grown amongst our culture in the breakaway roping. And so that's exciting to see.
Right. And well, and to see the spread of ages in that group. I mean, you're teenagers to 50-year-old women. I mean, and you're all elite competitors. There's not another sport that I know of that has that diversity in the age background and the lifestyles that all of you come from, because Martha's from the East Coast even. So
yeah,
take me through the next question I have, because another badge of honor is to be asked to be a YETI ambassador. What was that like? Because you're surrounded by the Wright family, Haley, JB Mooney, Cooper Davis. I mean, that's an elite group of people. Talk about being a part of that and getting that call.
It was, Peyton is such an honor, and she's a true friend. And to get that opportunity, it was so surreal to me. I was like, we might be able to call myself a professional now, I think that it's every time I have to pinch myself thinking that breakaway is a professional sport now, and we are rising up. And so to be surrounded by those people iron sharpens iron, 100%. And the Wright brothers, Haley, like, it's exciting to watch all those different events. And I get just as excited for the saddle bronc and the bulls and the barrels as I do with breakaway now. And just to know you're in that group is special, truly. And then to see the vast majority and the variety and everybody, how they do it different. And we're kind of all a melting pot. That's truly sweet to me as a YETI ambassador. And then all the other ambassadors too, and all the other elements in the sports that they do is like fascinating to me. I was like, oh my gosh, I want to learn more about this and that. How cool that they do this and that. And we all bring so many different walks of life, which is really neat to me. And then YETI supports that. There's not very many people in a company that have, they said, hey, we need you to jump on a call, do a meeting. I was like, okay, it'll probably be your PR person or whatever. Oh no, the owner, the CEO of YETI was on there, all the owners, and just to know they took the time to get to know us and they truly care, that sets a standard for us. It's a two-way relationship, and just knowing that they back us and we back them and we're promoting the product, that's something you can't replace. That's not very many companies that are going to do that. And so I love to be a part of somebody who I can stand behind and stands behind me.
Right. I could do this for hours with you. You have such a broad scope of things. Your marketing and design company, All Things Breakaway. I just love following that, because we can all see an in-depth look at all the women and what they're doing. When in Cheyenne, the first time they had breakaway there in 2019. I mean, I could just go on and on, but But when I stop and I talk to all these women, there is a trail. And when you all showed up, you went to get your back numbers. You all said, we're going. I don't care if there's a pandemic. I don't care what. We're going to be there. And we went to the Cowgirl Hall of Fame downtown Fort Worth. All of you dressed up, looking beautiful. But looking around in there, and Pam was talking that day. There's got to be a long list, and I won't put you on the spot. There's got to be a long list of women that you looked up to that and have followed in this path. Talk to me a little bit about that, because now you're carrying that on with other little girls that look at you.
Yeah. When I was really little, I team roped more. And so Beverly Robbins was one of the ladies I looked up to. Larry D was at that time, the epitome of breakaway, and everybody looked up to Larry D, and they still do. And Jackie was just starting to win all her world titles and everything. And so I was fortunate. I got to team rope with them. I got to know them a little bit and just watch them evolve. But I think that those girls truly set the standard for me, because I was from Colorado, they were from Texas area, and they just set the standard, and they were professional athletes. They conducted themselves well. They spoke well. And that was something as a little girl, I was like, I want to do that. The roping, we all have different things. We all do different ways and that, but just the way they conducted themselves, the way they presented themselves, they were respected amongst their peers, their elders, the young ladies, young men even. And I wanted to be like that. And now even more, with the Wrangler Network showing all these things and everything, there's little kids able to bring this up and watch it nonstop. I watched the runs at the finals a couple weeks ago, and really? I was like, thank gosh they kept them on there. So they have that at their hands to be able to watch all this stuff. And so I always tell somebody, I have a really cool story. So at Cheyenne, my first year, we were getting ready to rope, and there was this little boy in the stands, and I played with him a little bit. His grandpa was there and stuff. I never met him. He introduced him. I don't even remember his name. And so, that year goes, well, next year, 2020, I'm sitting in East Texas in Naples at an amateur rodeo. And that little boy comes up to me and he said, do you remember me, Jordan? And I said, no, I don't. And he said, yeah, you won Cheyenne. Remember we played at Cheyenne? And I was just like, I was brought to tears. I'm like, I do remember you. And I was like, how are you doing? He's like, so good. I love to watch you rope. I keep track of you and all this stuff. And it just totally humbled my heart, because you never know who you're going to meet and who make a difference in their life and who's watching. And so that completely changed my outlook on it, because I'm like, it doesn't matter whether I'm having a good day or a bad day. Somebody is watching, and it's going to make a difference, good or bad. I have that choice. And so I don't know. It's just so neat. And when I was growing up, we didn't really have that as easy accessible video footage and stuff like that. So I watch videos of Larry D, Jackie, and all of the greats. And I'm so excited for the generation coming now. They have it at their fingertips. They can go on the Wrangler Network. They can watch the replays. They can do things like that. And it makes a difference. And, just, it's surreal to think that I'm 30 now, and I don't feel like it, but I guess I am. But, even 15 years ago, I looked up to those girls. I still do, and I have the opportunity to rope with them. And there's so many girls coming behind us. And Jackie said the other day, she said, I hope that these girls never know there was anything different. Mm. And I thought that was really good, but then it's also so nice to know, Pam Minnick has helped me tons, just mentoring me, and she team roped some. And I've just, poor thing, she's probably sick of me talking to her, because I'm like, tell me, help me. I want to be your sponge. What do we need to do? And she's been so instrumental to our sport. And Jamie Markham's helped a bunch. JJ, there's so many women that may not ever get the recognition that they deserve, that have put in so many hours and made the events happen and stuff like that. But to know that we're a part of it, and we're a part of that first group, that's just truly an honor. It's something I think we'll always remember, and we'll always be able to hold steadfast that we were one of the first groups that, because of the work people had done and we've done, and those, we got to go through that door, and excited for what's to come.
Yeah, well, you're right, and the symbolism of that crossing the Jordan that morning, if you will,
Yeah, exactly.
holding hands. So look, you embody so much of what the cowgirl is, and what YETI and Built for the Wild and doing all these things is so cool. We're just honored that you took the time to do this with us, what you're doing for all the ones that'll follow you out there, and continue to do these things. And maybe we'll have you on to interview some of these other YETI ambassadors and learn about some of the other disciplines in the outdoor lifestyle, if you'd like to do that.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm up for any of it. I think I just love to learn about it, and it truly is built for the wild. I had the opportunity of taking a couple of weeks off and going to Nebraska to a ranch. So I'm not leaving without my coffee, right? So I have my coffee and I have my cup. Well, then I get done with it and we're, 3 miles from the house, and I'm like, what am I going to do with my coffee? So I just strapped it onto my rope strap and had my coffee cup hanging on my saddle all day, but I don't know. I mean, just the fact that it is built for the wild, it is what we do. We're bringing it, further down the road, and just to be a part of a company that, like I said, stands behind us and we stand behind them. It's truly a blessing.
Well, thank you so much. Have a great rest of the year, folks. Jordan Jo Fabrizio, what a talent and what a wonderful young lady. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you. I appreciate it.